And this is a particularly infuriating little article. The English translation from MK Rue, which I assume is a news website there, says a temple in Suzdal district will be transferred to the Church of the Assyrian Christian Community. According to the information of the Vladimir metropolis, this is worth noting, the MP's diocese is Vladimir and Suzdal, whereas the ROAC diocese is Suzdal and Vladimir. The Vladimir metropolis, a small church of the village of Borisov, Suzdal region, will be transferred to the Assyrian Church of the East. The meeting with representatives of this church was held the other day in the 33rd region. The delegation was met by Metropolitan Tikhon in the House of Orthodox Youth, together with the Bishop of St. Kovrovsky and the head of the missionary department of the Vladimir Diocese, Priest Arkady Makovetsky. In addition to discussing the transferring of the temple, they conducted a tour of the shrines of Suzdal, the temples and monasteries in the land of Vladimir. Recall that some time ago, the authorities of 33 regions gathered to preserve the collapsing temples so that in the future there would be a real opportunity for their restoration. For these purposes, the region will need 60 million rubles. That was one of the more, how do I put it, infuriating articles I've read in a while, and I'm going to say why. If you followed NFTU for 2 decades, then you would know that we have been covering in the past, probably about 13, 14 years ago, there was a series of church seizures that were being done by the Moscow Patriarchate throughout the Suzdal region. One of them affected me personally because the temple where Metropolitan Valentin used to serve, which was the Tsar Constantine Cathedral in Suzdal, was taken away. This is done because if you understand how properties were registered in Russia, right after the fall of the Soviet Union, they kind of opened it up to people, whoever wanted to take it to some degree, because a lot of these churches were left untouched. And so, let me see here. Okay, good evening, everyone. And Reader John asked for a blessing. So,
God bless.
Okay, and so what ends up happening is, a lot of these churches were registered in the early days under the Free Russian Orthodox Church, and then eventually, when they changed the name to the Rossiyskaya Pravoslavная Cerkva, the Russian Autonomous Orthodox Church, they registered it as such. So these temples were registered by the state. Basically, the organization would register with the state, and they would be the caretakers of the temple. And this seemed to be how everything was working in the first few years after communism, which led to ROAC having hundreds of temples, and they still have many temples today. But there was a period between 2008 to 2013 where the Moscow Patriarchate used the force of the government to take away many of these ROAC churches. And I know because I was in one of them, seeing celebrations of hundreds of people, during the hierarchical liturgies with Metropolitan Valentin. And that church is gone. My memories are gone. It's a tourist spot now and barely open. They open it up to just show people the frescoes inside. It's not used as a church. And this is true with a lot of those locations. They weren't taken because there were MP faithful clamoring to worship in the churches. They were taken out of spite. And finally, now, even worse, they're handing off churches now to Nestorians. And so it's like, not only did they go out of their way to punish and persecute the Orthodox, but now they are giving those same churches to open heretics. It is, I have no words to describe just how awful this is. I really don't. And to see that, I had to report on this, as you can see, 14 years ago. And then to see this, I don't even know what to say. I'm still, to some degree, I'm at a loss for words. I knew that they could get petty. I knew they could get ecumenous, but not this petty and ecumenous. Um, and so, yeah, I agree. It is. It's absolutely blasphemous. These are churches. Some of these churches date back, hundreds of years, and to have them completely taken away is just disgusting. Yeah, I'll post the link. I'm also going to be writing going to do a write up on NFTU for this. I never thought I'd have to do a write up on Suzdal churches again, but I guess things keep going on as they are.